Hello. Today I'm going to be making eggs Benedict, which involves poached eggs, like a muffin or bread, and then meat, and usually some sort of sauce. I'm going to be making a cheese sauce, and I'm going to have ciabatta bread and like turkey or something. Last time I used salami, but it gave me some heartburn. So I think it's pretty easy to do. Poaching the eggs is the most difficult part, but I'll walk you through that. So first you start out to make your cheese sauce. You need some butter. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of butter. Put it in a saucepan. Now you don't want to burn the butter, so you do it over medium heat. Now once this melts, you add equal parts flour to it, typically for sauces, roux. So that's going to be 2 tablespoons of flour, but you mix it in slowly. Don't do it all at once. This sauce can be very tricky. For roux or for sauces, you do equal parts butter to flour, and then you mix in a lot more milk. But you got to be careful how you mix it all together. Now watch, I'm taking a tablespoon of flour. Well, it's going to be a little less than 2, since this is a little less than 2 tablespoons of butter. And then you got to mix it in quickly and slowly. Actually, what you need is a whisk. I don't know why I didn't grab a whisk, but make sure it gets in there good. In fact, you can even put it in slower than this if you want. Make sure it really mixes in well. Now, since this isn't quite 2 tablespoons of butter, I'm just going to use a little bit more flour. Not much, just a little bit more. And that'll be it for that flour. Okay. Thank you. Okay, now this is the tricky part. For this is 2 tablespoons butter, 2 tablespoons flour, 1.5 cups milk. Now watch what happens to it when I add the milk. It's going to become difficult. You just add the milk slowly and make sure the milk is cold. This might freak you out when it comes together like this. It kind of bothered me the first time I did it. But this is important. Little by little, really mix it well. Actually, mixing this now, I realized it needs slightly more flour. Not a whole bunch more, but a little bit more. Make sure you whisk it really well still. Keep adding the milk little by little. Nah. Okay. It actually needs slightly more flour. You'll know how it should look after you make a couple sauces, but it should be a little bit thicker than this. And then you're going to boil this and make it even thicker, and that's when you add the cheese. So right now I'm still on medium heat with the butter, the milk, and the flour. Mixing it together. Now, as you can see, that's still pretty liquidy, so I'm going to add just a little bit more flour even. But then after this, I'm going to turn it up to high heat, which is going to thicken it up a whole lot. Okay, I'm going to turn this up to high, and then I'm going to bring it to a boil and stir it for 2 minutes. Now it's important to keep it at a boil. Once you get it to a boil, stir it for 2 minutes. This recipe called for 2 tablespoons of Parmesan and then a 1/4 cup of cheddar, but I like to add cheese for sauce to taste. It also said add a little bit of pepper. If you want to be exact, 1/8 teaspoon. It said white pepper, I'm just going to use black, and then 1/8 teaspoon salt. And then it actually had you put in a little bit of honey mustard. Not too much, I believe it said 1/8 teaspoon of that. Yep. No, 1/2 teaspoon. Well, that's fine. Get it back over heat. Okay, now you gotta reduce the heat to medium-low. It's important when you mix in the cheese. So keep stirring. Get that salt, pepper in there, that honey Dijon or honey mustard. Return it to a medium-low. And once it's cooled down a little, you add the cheese. And you don't want to burn the cheese or make it plasticky on high heat. You can kind of tell by smell as you're adding the cheese what you like. It's starting to smell alright now from the honey Dijon being in there. A little bit better than before. But it still needs cheese. There'll be a cheese sauce. Okay, I think it's ready. It's still probably a little hot, but it ain't too bad. It's cooling down. I'm going to use feta. See if that turns out alright. Add the cheese in slow. Stir it in. Make sure, you're still not too hot when you do this. Mine's still a little hot, but I think it'll be alright. It's melting pretty quick, which is good. Stir it good, make sure there's no little pieces getting out. Starting to smell better now, but I'm going to add even more cheese. I've made this once before and it turned out pretty good. So I know this recipe's alright. Even more I'm adding to that.
I don't have that on the burner.
It's looking good. I'm just going to add the rest of this cheddar all at once now.
Cheddar.
Okay. That's about all of it. Actually, thinking about it now, I think this is enough cheddar to give the cheese a good taste. So I am going to skip out on the feta this time and save that for some other food. It smells good. It smells nice and cheesy. It smells a lot like it did last time, so I think it should turn out pretty good. Now they say when you move on to poach your eggs, you should cover this and keep it on medium-low. That's what I'm gonna do. To poach eggs, you need a pot, a large skillet. A pot or a large skillet will do. You should fill it with 2 to 3 inches of water. An important thing is you gotta get white vinegar in there. This helps a lot with when it comes to the egg, poaching the egg. If you don't have the white vinegar, the egg is gonna kind of come apart. But the white vinegar helps it all just coagulate, I believe is the term, just come together. So you pour a little bit of that in there. Okay, now that the water's starting to come to a boil, we got the white vinegar in there. We need the eggs. You can't just crack them. You can't just crack them and put them in there. That's bad. It'll splatter everywhere. What you need to do is pre-crack them in a little bowl of some sort. And you're going to need a slotted spoon. This water's not exactly hot enough yet, so I'm going to wait. After it comes to a boil, you reduce the heat a little bit to a simmer. A simmer is like an almost boil. So, okay, it's starting to get kind of hot. So, as you can see, some of the bubbles are rising up.
Smell the vinegar.
Yeah, the vinegar's not going to get into the eggs, the taste of it, so you don't have to worry about that. First time I tried this, I got egg white everywhere. It got really dirty and murky. So I'm trying again. Got the white vinegar, got the water, got it to a boil. This time it's hotter than last time, so it should work better. You break your egg. Don't break it into this directly. Put it in a bowl. Then you pour it in. Okay, yeah, this is working a little better. Then what you got to do is, see how it's kind of coming together a little bit? You scoop very lightly with your slotted spoon the egg whites toward the yolk. Really very gentle with it. This one's difficult because it's a double yolk. Oop. These, once you get all the egg whites close to the yolks, wait 3 to 5 minutes and they should be done, depending on how, thick or hard you like your eggs. Okay, I got my bread. You can use English muffins, whatever. You don't even have to use bread if you don't want. I'm using ciabatta. You can put some meat on it. Bacon would go well, but we don't have any. So I'm just going to put a little bit of turkey on each. The poached eggs are about ready. We're going to put the poached eggs on top of this and then pour our cheese sauce all over them. And you can put whatever else you want. Because of my difficulties poaching the eggs, I'm only going to have one on each. You could put two on each. It would look nicer, but... I'm having some difficulty seeing these. Okay, here's one poached egg. Oh! Crap. Cut the yolk. Oops.
That's okay, I'll eat it.
I have some bad luck today, I'll tell you. Pour the sauce on it. You can make it a lot more stylish than this. There's one Eggs Benedict. I'll do the other and enjoy.